All right, like I said, the last thing we did together as father and son was actually get a dog. So he asked me what was I gonna name it. So I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna name him Billy Lee. And the only reason why I told him that was I named him after my folks. Because my father's name was William, but my mom called him Bill. And my mother's middle name was Lee. So I just called him Billy Lee. I said, well, okay, why don't we call him Billy Lee? That's how it's been ever since. Can't make this thing go any faster? Jeez. So, pretty much, that was the last thing we did together, and I really had fun with that dog. And my dad could tell. My dad could see it in my eyes. So simple because, well, I had a dog before that. But the thing was, he didn't like me. He was part pit bull, and his name was Rush. Like I said, I used to. Like I said, when I was a kid or growing up, I played a lot of video games. And one of the many games that I've actually played when I was a kid was Mega Man. So, I named that dog after Mega Man's dog, Rush. So, the fact that Billy was, he was so likable. Because even my mom had to admit, he was the most he was the most human, he was the most human-like dog ever known. And one of the things he did and one of the things he did when he was around was he always had a way of telling you. He always had a way of telling you what's going on. So what he said was, he didn't say ow. He said something totally different. He said, and I quote, "Oh." What that meant was he's hungry. I understood my dog very well. He was like, "Whoa." I remember when I was in Japan that he really did miss me. He was so he was so messed up. He was so messed up that he couldn't deal with me being gone. So every time I called home, I'd always ask to put Billy on the phone, and all he did was sniff. That was his response. He was so happy to hear from me that he just sniffed the phone. Again, this is not a run and gun game. I really don't have much to say about this game. Besides that, this is pretty much a fairly decent game. So, how's everyone else in your neck of the woods? Is everything doing great? Wonderful, I hope. Hopefully awesome. All I can say is this game is getting fairly short. And I'm doing all this button mashing. And this game is fairly short for being so damn long. But I digress. This is a Capcom game. They don't believe in long games. They believe in milking them. But really, to be honest, I do miss my old man. I do miss the times I've talked to him and spoken to him. So, I mean, with that, it kind of says a lot that, I do something on behalf of Veterans Day, even though Veterans Day is over. So let's just say this is a little something for my dad, and this is a little something for Veterans Day. So the best of both worlds on my end. So, this game, namely known as MERCS, is dedicated to the many veterans out there who have put their lives on the line for this very country. For those who actually came home alive, as well as those who gave their lives for this country so we can stay the way we are, namely free. And for those who are still in the war, come home safe. Those of who you care about are waiting for you. So, if there is anything else, which there should not be, I mean, I probably have plenty of stories I can tell about my dad, but I don't remember. I don't know how many there are I can tell. After all, he lived for 13 years of my life. That's plenty, but not much I can say about it. So this has been MERCS, presented by Capcom. I've been Pookie Izzy7, the underdog of the underrated. And I'm going to put in my names and be done with this. Because I am finished. So with that, this has been MERCS by Capcom. I have been the most skilled warrior in all the universe, Pookie Izzy7, the underdog of the underrated. And stay tuned, I probably will have another game for you right after this. But, just for the moment, I am